Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Welcome into the number one Group of Five football podcast in the world. We are the Group of Five guys. Our mission is to be the voice for the Group of Five football programs, the voice that the mainstream sports media just will not provide. We need your help to do that. We need you to follow us on all the social media platforms at Group of Five guys. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your best podcasts. Subscribe to the channel. Give us a 5-star rating. Leave a comment. Leave a review. And most importantly, tell your family and friends all about us. Now, on this episode, on this Wednesday morning, we got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about some of the Thursday night games, make some picks on those. We're going to dig in a little bit to the quarterback situation across the country and dig into what really goes into these coaches' decisions on choosing QB1, the effect it has on the locker rooms. And then we're going to talk about playoff scenarios. We got to do it. We got to do it every week. And we're going to start out before the season even really gets cranked up. So we are going to do that. Plenty more. Hope you enjoy the show. Have you had it from somebody born and raised in Lafayette, Louisiana, at a tailgate? Doubt it.
I said Michael Pratt has got to show up and play, and boy did he. 394 yards, 4 touchdowns, 48 rushing yards on the ground, and another touchdown.
Projected getting drafted between the first and third round, that's incredible. The wide receivers are absolutely stacked for the Group of Five.
Yeah, I really appreciate you do for the Group of Five programs, and I think it's great. I think we should get more of this, but you guys are on the forefront of this. And
I'm thankful for this. I'm glad that you're talking about the Group of Five because I think they get overlooked.
But it's a ton of fun to watch a guy go to the NFL from a Nevada or a Colorado State or a Middle Tennessee or an App State, and fans follow that kid.
Jeff, when we started the Group of Five guys, one of our main goals was to get everybody ready for game day. Well, now, what a better partnership and what a better way to get you ready for game day than a nice hot cup of Deca Gray coffee, my friend. And now you can get the exclusive limited edition Group of Five guys game day dark roast, which, by the way, came in the mail for both Jeff and I yesterday. I have not cracked open the bag yet. I'm still working on the Whiskey Way bag, but go over to decagray.com, pick whatever flavor you want. It'd be cool if you got the Group of Five guys flavor to take out to your Saturday morning tailgates, but that's all right. Choose whatever you want to choose. Look at, it'll show you the flavor notes and all of those things. Use our code GOFG, get you a 10% discount. But decagray.com, Deca Gray Coffee Company. Super fired up about this new partnership, Jeff.
Yeah, and I'm actually drinking a cup of the game day blend myself. It's got great flavor, robust, as the coffee connoisseurs will say. But no, man, it's roast to order, so it's not been sitting around on a shelf for, who knows? Sometimes at the store it's sitting around for months on end. This stuff is roast to order. It got to my house in I think like 3 or 4 days. That might be on the quicker end, but shoot, you can't beat it, man. And it goes to a great company, another small business like we are, trying to make it in this crazy world of massive companies kind of controlling the market. So, our listeners, our viewers, they're supporting us. So go and support them. Check them out at decagray.com.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. You hit it. You hit the nail on the head with that. Couple elites controlling the coffee market. Sounds real similar to the college football market, Jeff. So
sure does.
I don't know, but I'll tell you the good news, Jeff. It's Wednesday. That means it's hump day. That means we are now, we will be over the hump towards week 1, which, of course, I will be down in Statesboro on Saturday. Cannot wait. I mean, the closer it gets, the more excited I get about it. Checking out Georgia Southern again, checking out Boise State. Something about being down there on the field. I'm a big eye test guy. So I'm going to be down there on the field checking those guys out. Hopefully some Boise State fans make the trip. Hopefully they're not all waiting till they go to Oregon Hopefully they get some people that want to come down to the Southeast and experience, as they call it, the prettiest little stadium in America, Paulson Stadium.
Yeah, I'm jealous. You're getting a week up starting
Yeah.
on college football. Me and our boy Tyler Tipton will be in Las Vegas for one of our best friends, Zeke Anderson's getting married, so it's his little send off. So you're going to be in Statesboro, actually working. We'll be in Vegas, just having a good time, putting in some bets, in the sports book, trying to win us some money.
Well, I'll tell you, that's got to be I don't know if what y'all got planned, but that'd be a really cool Saturday. Don't they have that pool, like sports bar with the pool where you have all the games on the screen like that?
It's like
where y'all ought to go.
College swim or something like that. Yeah, I don't know if
Something
we're going
like
there. I know we're definitely hitting one of the pool parties in Vegas.
Yeah, there you go.
105 degrees is the forecast, so we'll see how that goes.
Well, you gotta get in the pool then if that's the case.
No doubt.
But Jeff, the good news for you is you could get a nice tan to get you ready for week 2.
I mean, you can just go ahead and see. I'm already.
Yeah, you got a little color to you. But week 2, then, as we've announced on the socials, we'll be down in San Marcos, Texas. Friday afternoon, river float. Saturday afternoon, tailgate. Friday morning, we'll be touring the facilities, checking out the place, checking out new updates, new upgrades, eating pizza. I mean, listen, like the thing that sucks is how fast football season goes. Like, we have all these events lined up. We have all this fun stuff planned, all these big games. And just like that, it'll be Christmas and we'll be, watching a couple playoff games and that'll be it, man. But
I
this is the
remember
start.
We talked about it on the last episode. We asked what the temperature of the water roughly is. And, I had mentioned, I think it feeds from a spring. And one of our San Marcos listeners said that is correct. 72 degrees year round, whether it's winter, whether it's summer. So I can't wait to get down there, man. We went down there a couple years ago.
72. Let's discuss here. Now 72. I mean, that's not super warm, right?
I mean, when I get in the cold tub, when I get in the cold tub, it's like trying to have it at about 45. 50 degrees. So, I mean, that's 30 degrees warmer than that.
All right. But it ain't bath water, though.
No. Yeah, but Sprout, it's going to be 100 degrees in San Marcos. I mean,
listen, I'm just trying to prepare.
God, you know what? You Florida kids are just so soft when it comes to the cold.
Yeah, being from Florida, it's just different. That's all you can really say about it. You notice I'm getting prepared in case we got to make our way down to Pitbull Stadium at some point this year, Jeff.
I see it, man. So we got a couple good trips planned up here, and I'm sure we'll drop the rest of our travel schedule before long. But man, that's gonna be a great weekend next weekend, and I'm jealous you get to go to Statesboro this weekend.
Yeah, I'm going to have a good time. Excited to see some people. Well, Jeff, let's talk about these quarterbacks, right? I mean, the big story in the last couple of weeks, of course, was Boise State with Malachi Nelson not being named the starter. And, I just want to dig into this a little bit because there's a lot of QB battles this year. A lot have not been announced yet. And they know internally. They got to know at this point internally. I think week 1, a lot of coaches will try to play a couple of them. Try to see some stuff, but I want to talk about this, especially with you as the quarterback. What do you think all the coaches are looking at, right? Because it's not just as the fans are looking at just arm talent, basically. They think a guy's got a couple stars next to his name in the recruiting. He's the guy, but there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, there is. And before I get into my analysis of what makes a great quarterback, and I'm not going to put this person's Twitter handle, but they're a Boise State fan and a pretty predominant one that gets a lot of traction on Twitter or on X. And he put out a poll. This was as of yesterday. I think it had another day to go, but it said, let's see, it's mid-December. Basically, the gist of the question is it's pretty much the end of the season. Who's the starting quarterback? And 60% say Malachi Nelson's the quarterback. And this just shows you, in my opinion, and he may be the quarterback by this. Yeah. I don't know. But Spencer Danielson has all the information he could possibly want. All of his coaching staff has all the information. They've seen him in the offseason, spring, summer, fall camp now. And Madsen's the starter. That's who they deem, that gives them the best chance to win. And it's not just on the field arm talent. It's not just athletic ability. It's a leader of men. It's who in the locker room does the team gravitate more towards. It's leading by example. It's always doing the right thing, whether you're on the field, off the thing. So it's this combination of, yes, you got to be able to physically get it done, but it's so much more. And I think when you have a guy that's been somewhere for a couple of years, as opposed to an incoming freshman who doesn't have a lot of time, who doesn't have the experience of when you're on the field and when everything goes wrong, like that's what makes a great quarterback as well. It's like, it's easy when everything's going great and you got great pieces on the outside. You got a great running back behind you. What makes a great quarterback is when the shit hits the fan and everything goes wrong. Who's the steady force moving forward? Everyone's like, okay, I see what he's doing. I'm gonna follow that kid. And I think that's a big key, a big piece to it as well.
Yeah, I think, and if you're in the huddle or you're on the sideline, you definitely want that presence. And that's what a lot of it is. And a lot of times, that ends up being the backup guy. And sometimes that's where you'll see a coach bring in the backup. You talk about that spark, right? They provide a nice spark off the bench, like in basketball all the time or whatever. And sometimes that's the case. Sometimes you might have the guy that's maybe not quite there as far as the talent or the arm strength or whatever, all the BS, but they come in the huddle and now your O-line's like, oh, hell yeah, our boy's in. You know what I mean? And that's part of this now. I mean, and it's got to go who fits. We talked about this on our O-line show, right? It's not always necessarily the 5 best guys. It's the 5 that fit the best together. And part of that has to do with the quarterback too. Can he fit in there with the guys? Do they kind of understand each other? Does the quarterback understand his O-line? Do they like the guy? I mean, hell, let's not pretend that doesn't have an effect on it. That's where I was going to go and we say it all the time when it comes to coaches, like players can spot a phony quicker than anybody else when it comes to coaches, and your quarterback is a de facto leader. They're like, being in that position, like you are automatically a leader on the team, whether you want to be or not. So players can spot a phony leader just as well as they can spot a phony coach. And if you walk into that huddle and you don't have the respect of your offensive line or the respect of your steel guys, like it's not going to work. And you only do that by, building that relationship in the offseason, going through the fire sometimes in a game. And Madsen did that last year. And it's 100%. If they don't like you, they're not going to play as hard, and they're not willing to sacrifice themselves for you for the greater good if they don't like you. Well, and everybody, when everything's going well, of course, everybody's trying to do their job, right? They want, that's them on film, them trying to get tape for the league or for just keep starting or whatever. But things start going south a little bit. Now you got a couple losses under your belt. The season's sort of washed at that point. Maybe you ain't going to the NFL. Your effort's going to definitely drop off a little bit. And I think you'd be naive to think it wouldn't. Not everybody, but some, and it only would take one. Going back to Madsen, and the funny thing about that is, we've talked about this. Taylon Green was supposed to be the guy last year, the big talented guy, the tall kid, all that stuff. And Madsen pretty much outplayed him. And now Taylon Green's got the starting job at Arkansas. And here's the thing too. See, I think this happens. I think, coaches are prideful. Okay. So this is why I think when a coach doesn't choose the 5-star, it says more about the coach. I think it says more positive about the coach. Coaches are prideful, right? If they recruit a guy or God forbid, they have some communication with an NIL collective that pays a guy a ton of money to go, their pride is going to get in the way. And they're likely to give that guy every single chance to be the starter over and over and over and over again. And I just for a little bit of experience on that as a guy that walked on at first at middle, like you only getting one shot when they're going with the reps, right? They might have that freshman that's a whatever 3-star, 4-star, and he might not be doing good, and they're going to keep trying and trying and trying and trying until it works. Because hey, I recruited that guy, and now hey, my NIL collective paid that guy $500,000. Like it better work. Otherwise, it says something about my ability to recruit or to evaluate high school talent. And now in this day and age, it questions my ability to recruit the portal. And I think that's some of it. I think if you're at Arkansas, you go get Taylor Green in the portal and he has whatever he was out of high school, we got to start him. And I think for Spencer Danielson and Boise State, again, we talked about this last week. If Malachi Nelson's not the guy, it's probably not that close. Just in all those aspects that Jeff talked about earlier. Yeah, he might have a better arm than Maddox Madsen. Maybe. I mean, hell, dude. Listen, Madsen can play. That's the crappy part in all this is Madsen's a baller. And Malachi Nelson might be a baller, but he's a redshirt freshman. Jeff, how many redshirt freshmen start in the country, especially at quarterback?
Very few. And if they are,
yeah,
to me, it means that you didn't recruit depth and you've missed somewhere along the line because say what you want, like it is a different game from high school to college, especially the FBS level. And you come in as a freshman, true freshman, or even a redshirt freshman trying to start, like there's no reason for that. Like you can get a kid that's 2 or 3 years further advanced, not only mentally, but physically, unless you just got it. And there's outliers, there always is, but yeah, there's no reason for a freshman to be starting. And, I hope Madsen crushes it. I really do. I'm rooting for the kid.
Well, and you know what's funny? Just one more thing on that before I know you got a clip of arguably the GOAT talking about that, but you see it in the NFL all the time, and you see it now more and more, right? Where they put so much pressure on these first round picks to go in and be the guy, and they give them like a year, and then they want to call him a bust right away. Yeah. And then it's been, I mean, we've witnessed it over and over and over and over again. Is the ones that are successful are the ones that sit there behind another good one for a year, 2 years, 3 years, a couple years, and then come in. Now they've learned. Now they're comfortable. Now they're a little bit of a veteran. They've seen some time. Now it's time. Now it's time to let them off the leash a little bit. But, to think that every 5-star needs to be a 4-year starter is crazy. And I mean, I actually was watching a clip from Rico Knows. Shout out to him. But the other point is, when are you going to hold these recruiting websites accountable? I mean, like, listen, no, they have carved out a career and a whole industry. But let's not pretend like they're. I mean, how much are they getting to see, right? How much are they getting to see live in person? Number one, and there's just so many high school kids. It'd be impossible. It would be absolutely impossible to truly scout and rank all of them and give them a star. And what really happens, and we've seen it happen, is they get an offer from an Alabama or whatever, and then their star rating goes up. And a lot of that is they know that if we keep giving these Alabama fans the top 3 recruiting class in the country, they're going to keep subscribing to our page. They're going to keep clicking on our buttons because they want to see their thing. So a lot of it is, we're just wanting to have a 5-star recruit so that when he commits to Georgia, all the Georgia fans come on our website.
Follow the money.
I mean, and unfortunately, in the group of 5, you don't have as many. Well, I think this is a positive comment. You don't have as many delusional idiots running around in the group of 5. You have like true fandom, right? You have people that, I mean, you have them. Don't get me wrong. You got them in Boise. You got them in Statesboro for damn sure. But I just think that's a lot of it. And I think the fans need to be aware of that when a Malachi Nelson, first of all, he dropped to a 4-star when he committed to Boise. We all remember that happening. So, you know, it's the whole industry sucks, man.
It does. And you just follow the money and you'll realize shortly that it's a racket and they're in it to make money, to get clicks and all the other things. But I want to play this clip. It's a couple minutes long, so bear with us. But Tom Brady just goes into, you know, his opinion of quarterbacks and the game at an NFL level, and he talks about a college level as well. And before I start that, I do want to shout out the live chat. We got a good group in there. Matt Hardigan's in there again. Joe Judkins, our friend, is in there. Zachary Branner is on his way to work listening. Mr. Wansworld from Italy is listening, or in Italy, not from Italy. Blazer Bobcat's in there. Who else is in there? I saw another one.
We got Janet Norwood in there.
Janet Norwood. That was the other one I was looking for. I saw. So appreciate you guys waking up, listening with us.
How long's Mr. Wansworld going to be? I mean, the guy's on a week and a half vacay.
I think he said he was there for work. I feel like I said that.
Oh, there you go.
But shout out to him for checking in, man. Middle of the day, lunchtime. But, yeah, let's get to this clip, and we'll talk about it, and we'll get to the rest of the quarterback news in the group of 5.
And when I watch it, sometimes I think, wait a minute, we're regressing in the game a little bit because for a number of different reasons, and I could cite them all the way back for the last 15 years, but it could go from ultimately the development of the players is what's the most important in the NFL. If you want football to be good, you're going to want to develop these players to be better every single year. And the reality is we don't have the processes in place for those players to be better year after year. They may maintain, they may be slightly better, but not at the improvement levels that we were able to make when I was a younger player through our ability to practice more. We had less distractions. There was much more opportunity in the offseason to train. There was more opportunity in training camp to train. There was more opportunity than the regular season to train. We had and not only through pro level, but also in college sports, because whatever gets adopted at the pro level ultimately gets adopted at the college level, and from the college level, it gets adopted to the high school level. And now I look at what could be a little bit dangerous is now there are players transferring from schools when they're not playing, and they're going to different programs, and they're going to different techniques they're learning. They're never advancing in an own individual system. There used to be college programs. Now there are college teams. You're no longer learning a program, you're learning a playbook. Mm-hmm. And the program is ultimately, like at Michigan, for me, that was a pro-style program. 5 years, I got to learn how to drop back pass, to read defenses, to read coverages, to be coached, to deal with winning games, to deal playing in Columbus, Ohio, in front of 110,000 people. Right. I had to learn from being 7th quarterback on the depth chart to moving up to 3rd to ultimately being a starter. I had to learn all those things in college. That was development. Then I went to New England, and I was developed by Coach Belichick and the offensive staff there. I didn't start my first year. I think it's just a tragedy that we're forcing these rookies to play early. But the reality is the only reason why they are is because we dumbed the game down, which has allowed them to play. It used to be thought of at a higher level. We used to spend hours and hours in the offseason and training camp trying to be a little bit better than next year. But I think what happens is it discourages the coaches from going to deep levels because they realize the players don't have the opportunity to go to a deep level, so they're just going to teach them where they're at.
How does that get rectified? How does that rectified so the quality of the quality of play can improve? How do you rectify that?
Well, I would say as I speak to, let's say, a quarterback, for example, when I was a quarterback, what I aspired to be was a game general out there. I wanted to be that field general. I wanted to call the shots. If you were my coach, you would call a play. That play would come into me. I would say, okay, I think, and we've communicated before the game, this is the reason why he called the play. We talked about this. I'm walking the line of scrimmage. I'm looking at the defense. Oh, perfect. I love the defense. This is exactly why we called this play. I snapped the ball. Well, every defense is built a little differently, and every defense takes away something a little different. Sometimes I walk to the line of scrimmage. I knew exactly why we called the play, and I go, oh, God, it's not going to work. We have no chance of this play working based on the defense that they called. So I would change the play.
Got it.
And I'd get out of the play, I'd turn it. If, let's say I had a deep pass and they were guarding you deep, I would check to a run. I'd check to a short throw. I'd get out of that play to make sure that play was successful. Now the quarterbacks walk to the line of scrimmage, coach calls a deep play, defense calls a coverage that takes away a deep play, and they snap the ball. And that quarterback's holding the ball, and he gets sacked, and then I hear people go, well, the offensive line's got to hold up. And I'm listening like, there was no one going to be open on that play. You could call it 100 times, the same result would have happened. When is a quarterback's responsibility to check to a play that's going to be successful? That's what I did. That's what Peyton Manning did. That's what Ben Roethlisberger did. That's what Drew Brees did. That's what Phil.
I mean, that is money on so many different levels, and that's what you got to be. And that's, I can't stand it because they have dumbed the game down to a certain degree, especially, in the NFL. And that's why they're trying to start all these rookies, but it's so much more than being able to make the throw on the field. You have to be able to understand what you're saying. You have to be able to get out of bad plays into good plays. And he just hit the nail on the head. I love that clip.
And I wrote down a couple other things as he was talking. Well, one is he brought up the practice time. And that's something I didn't think about a ton when you're talking about these QBs. We talked to a bunch of coaches last year. We talked to Stock and Summerall in preseason camp, and they're getting like less than half of the practices that even as little time ago as we had, and they can't do pads more than 2 days in a row. So if you got a freshman, it's not really enough time to learn and figure it out. I mean, you're barely getting through install of the playbook at that point with that little practices, and you're expecting a young guy. See, now a veteran or a guy in the NFL can watch film and do some walkthroughs and they'll be ready to go, but not a freshman. Freshman's got to have live scrimmage, man, live bullets. So, and then the other thing he said, he talked about coaches really not having the time to develop. And a lot of that is the pressure to win now that we've put on everybody from college to the NFL. So again, they just don't have time to take the chance and develop a guy. So they got to go with the one the fans want, or the owner wants, and the one that Jerry Jones wants, or whatever, So, and I worry a ton about the NIL with this kind of thing, right? Yeah. Because I don't know what Malachi Nelson's NIL status is. I'm sure he's getting some money. I'm sure he's getting a pretty chunk of change. And again, what I fear is going to start happening is, and it may help, it may end up being a good thing because it'll kind of correct this market a little bit. But my fear is you're going to have a guy that gives a lot of money for NIL and for other stuff. And they're going to put the pressure on the coaching staff, or they're going to go to the athletic director, or they're going to go to the president of the university, and they're going to say, hey, look, I gave $500,000 to this quarterback that you're not playing. I also gave another $1 million to your new locker room build, to your new stadium expansion. And I want that kid to play. And if he doesn't play, you can say goodbye to that check I'm writing. That's what I fear is going to start happening, if it's not happening already.
I was going to say, yeah, it's probably happening or has happened already, but we'll just have to wait and see. But there's quite a few other notable names or teams that have named starters. And I was going to
quite a few that haven't.
So that was I was going to get to is you got, obviously TJ Finley named the starter at Western Kentucky. Ben Wooldridge named the starter at Louisiana. CJ Ogbonna was named the starting quarterback for the Buffalo Bulls. Obviously, we talked General Booty over at La Monroe. Interesting for Central Michigan, Burt Emanuel is not listed on the depth chart. Apparently, he's injured. So Joe Labus is the starter for this weekend. Interested to see what he's going to do. UTSA not announcing a starting quarterback. Feel like the QB battle will continue through Saturday. Now, I don't know. We say it. The fact that you don't have a starter, does that mean you don't have a starter at all? Or both guys that good? Remains to be seen. Same thing with Coastal Carolina. They are not naming a starter until they roll out there on Thursday. Rich Rod names Logan Smothers and Tyler Huff as co-starters. Very interesting. Southern Miss head coach Will Hall says he knows who the starting quarterback is, but he's not going to name him. And then last piece of interesting news I came across was USC head coach Lincoln Riley names Miller Moss as the starting QB for the Trojans. I know they're Power 4, but why this is relevant to us is Jaden Mayava, UNLV quarterback last year, transfers to SC, and he's not the starter. So you leave a place where you were the guy, you had all the film and numbers that you could possibly want, transfer for whatever your reasons were, and now you're on the bench.
Speaking of, UNLV hadn't named Matt Sluka the starter yet either, have they?
They have not. Now, my theory is, and maybe it's just that tight of a battle, and if that's the case, then kudos to them for having 3 guys that can ball. I just think they're kind of holding their cards tight to not let Houston know who the guy's going to be.
I love the depth charts that come out, and it says Ty Thompson or Kai Horton or Mensa.
Well, speaking of that, they have
one.
not read between the lines, but Mensa is the first quarterback listed on that depth chart.
He is. Yeah, I was trying to look if it was alphabetical or whatever, but I don't. Yeah, we'll see. And I think the good news for Tulane is they'll probably get to play all 3 of them this week. And a lot of these teams will. Now, Georgia Southern with J.C. French and Boise State with Maddox Madsen. That game, I'm probably not going to be playing. Maybe you play 2 of them in different circumstances. But Jeff, we got another clip that sort of was going viral yesterday, and just continues on the path of disrespect. But this was a Barstool representative on an On Three podcast. Is that right? Andy Staples. Was that a podcast or just like an interview or what?
I believe it's Big Cat's show. Pardon my take. And Andy Staples from On 3 was on his show talking about the college football playoff and how it's structured and really kind of how it shapes in a positive light for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. So let's listen to that.
So it's the top 4 teams, the top 4 conference champions get a bye, and then it's 5 through 12. The first round is going to be home games for the higher seed, and then they go and then they play where they play neutral, and then they play in the bowl games.
So the top 5 conference champions get into the playoff automatically, but the top 4 get the bye and get the top 4 seeds. And so we've been doing all this at On 3. We're trying to help retrain everybody's brain. So we've been doing all these projected playoff things. And invariably, we'll put out the graphic on social media, and I'll have like Utah or Kansas State at the 4 seed as the Big 12 champion.
Right.
And people just lose their shit. They're like, how can they be the 4 seed? Like, that's the rule.
Yeah.
Like, the ACC champ or the Big 12 champ, they will probably be the 3 and 4 seeds.
Right.
Most likely.
So that leads me to my point that I want you to grade. Somehow, some way, Notre Dame has actually ended up in the best position in all of this, because if they are good, they are going to get the 5 seed. And what that means at the 5 seed is they get a home game against probably a group of 5 team at the 12 seed. And then their next game will be against the 4 seed,
which might be the number 13 team in the country. Yes.
Who will almost always assuredly be an ACC or a Big 12 team. So they will essentially always avoid the Big 10 and SEC until the Final Four. And so somehow Notre Dame has worked out the best possible way.
Well, there were 4 people who designed this system. Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, Craig Thompson, the Mountain West commissioner, Bob Bowlesby, who was the Big 12 commissioner at the time, and Jack Swarbrick, the Notre Dame athletic director. This system, and Jack's a smart guy. So he's retired now, but this was the gift he left Notre Dame with, because not only does it make it where they never have to join a conference, because if they're 10-2, or with this schedule, maybe they have to be 11-1 to get in. But usually most years with their schedule, if they're 10-2, they're going to get in. And they never have to play in a conference championship game. So they're not playing that extra game. So it's kind of only fair that they would have to play the first round. But you probably get the first round at home if you're that good. So you get the number 12 seed, which is like going to be the Mountain West champ or the American Athletic Conference champ that might be ranked 23rd in the actual poll. And then if you win that, you get the 4 seed, which is potentially like the number 15 team. Who knows? It'll be the 4th lowest ranked conference champ. So yeah, the number 5 seed is the best one if you don't have to play in a conference championship game.
Right.
If you do, it's a little bit different. Like if let's say you're Alabama and you lost to Georgia in the SEC championship game, you're not really getting that big of an advantage because you had to play against Georgia and get beat up for an hour.
Right.
But if you're Notre Dame and you didn't, or let's say you're Ole Miss and you just missed the SEC championship game, and for whatever reason the committee decides the team that lost the SEC championship game is going to be ranked below you, like you're in a catbird seat.
Yeah.
Like that 5 spot is nice.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think, Sprouse?
Well, lots to unpack. The first thing that I think is funny is he brought up the delusional fans again, and that's your typical. I hate to say that's your typical Barstool-ish audience when he talked about when they put the graphic up of the top 4 and they all get mad. Like, how can you have Kansas State? Because they don't even know the rules. They don't even know what they're looking for. They're just mad. Whatever the poll is, if their team's not number 1, they're upset about it. Second thing on that is, you know, and this is the main point that we wanted to bring up, is just complete dismissal of number 1, whoever that group of 5 team may be. Number 2, that group of 5 team having a chance to be ranked higher than 12. Because remember now, if they're ranked 11, they'll be the 11 seed. So they're going to be seated where they're ranked. So if you have now, let's not pretend that the committee's not going to have that right in their back pocket and just have that group of 5 team hovering around 12, 13, 14 all year long is what it's going to really be. But I mean, why are we assuming that Notre Dame is just going to walk through a group of 5 team? I mean, the last time they really had a de facto playoff type game against a group of 5 team, they got smacked by Cincinnati at home. And then the committee still wanted to put Notre Dame. They still wanted, not the committee, the media still wanted to put Notre Dame in the playoff ahead of them. Notre Dame somehow has hoodwinked the entire country. And how, like, you get all these athletic directors, or you get all these commissioners, all these presidents, and then all of a sudden, and Notre Dame. Everything that comes out is so-and-so commissioner, and Notre Dame. Who can make the playoff? Conference champions or Notre Dame? Who can make this bowl game? Somebody or Notre Dame. How these Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, how he's allowing this, Mr. wanting to cut everybody out of his pie, how he's allowing Notre Dame as one school to have the power of an entire conference is wild to me. Absolutely wild to me.
I'll tell you
But
what.
also, I'll say this too. Notre Dame ain't going to be, they're going to be, if they're undefeated, they'll be the 5. But the 5 is going to be whoever loses between Georgia and Alabama, or whoever loses between Ohio State and Oregon. That's who the 5 is going to be.
I hope and pray.
I hope it's Notre Dame.
I hope and pray that it's Notre Dame. If Notre Dame somehow gets the 5 seed, I will take Memphis, Tulane, App State, whoever is our representative. I think we have a fantastic shot of beating Notre Dame. And you saw what happened when Marshall went there. I know that was 2 years ago. I believe it was 2 years ago, but and Marshall at that time wasn't, I'd say they were maybe top 15 that year in the group of 5 as far as teams go. So give me Notre Dame all day. I will gladly take that. And honestly, I'm not going to put it past the committee to put Notre Dame, a 1-loss Notre Dame who doesn't play in a conference championship, who doesn't have that late loss over, because everyone's pretty dead set on Georgia winning the SEC. So you may have a 2 or 3 loss SEC team as the runner up. So if you have a 1-loss Notre Dame and a 3-loss Alabama or Ole Miss, I could see them giving Notre Dame the 5 over
that's
it.
Fair.
100%. So if that's the case, come on, let's go.
Well,
because I will take our rep over Notre Dame every day of the week, twice on Sunday.
Well, and the other thing that is going to have an effect on this is how all the conferences have gotten rid of divisions. So you won't have, and I was wrong about this in the past. You won't have that. You know, in the past, you've had like undefeated Alabama versus 8-4 Missouri in the conference championship, and you won't get that anymore because you'll get the best two teams, whether that be, which it's probably going to be Georgia. It's probably going to be like how the SEC always is, even though everybody else doesn't want to admit this. It's going to be Georgia and Alabama. You could probably slip Texas in that mix, and then you're going to have a rotation of LSU might be good for a year, Florida might be good for a year, Oklahoma might be good for a year, but none of them are going to sustain the way that Georgia and Alabama have. Boy, I think we need to go, Jeff, wherever it's at.
I agree.
And I'm going to tell you this, and they're going to do their damnedest to have this happen. But if, God forbid, a group of 5 team gets seeded 8 or higher and has a home game, I promise you they don't want any part of it. Like, no, they are going to – they'll probably change the rule after the season's over to try and – what you'll see, let's just say you have an undefeated – Boise State. We've been talking about Boise State a lot today. Let's just say you have an undefeated Boise State with a win at Oregon, if that's the case at that point. And you'd get down to the committee, and Oregon could lose to Ohio State in the conference championship, and Boise could beat UNLV in the conference championship. And the committee will say some nonsense like that quality loss is going to make like they'll jump them. It's going to happen super late. They will not allow it. I promise they will not allow it. Also, Jeff, what happened to Barstool? I mean, Big Cat's fine, Portnoy's fine, but have you ever seen they do those videos where they're like walking around their facility?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it has become like just like the sloppiest looking people talking about sports. How they have any credibility is baffling to me. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I know a lot of people like Barstool. I like Barstool, actually. I mean, I really do. But the more people, it's like they find, I think Portnoy finds the dumbest person he could find, or the like worst looking person he could find. If it's a dude.
You talking about Brandon Walker?
Well, yeah, Brandon Walker, that Mitzi fella. I don't know if he still works there. They were some guy. I mean, they were walking around asking about who's going to win the Heisman the other day. And I was like, oh, for God's sake, dude. How is this a sports? How is sports in your name here?
I get the clicks, my friend. That's what it's all about.
I digress. But quickly, Jeff, who do you think is like, let's talk about this. Who do you think is going to be our representative in the group of 5?
I think it comes down to ultimately, I think Liberty is going to get hurt. I think that loss against Oregon, fair or not fair, because I don't think anybody else was beating Oregon last year. I think that hurts them, even if they go undefeated. If you have a 1-loss Memphis or App, Tulane, the next 3 or 4 teams that are probably going to be in it, I think the 1-loss team gets in over them because of strength of schedule. I think that loss hurts Liberty. So I'm going to leave them out. If Tulane can figure out their quarterback situation, if they can be productive at that shot, I think Tulane athletically on the field matches up the best with anybody in the country. So I'm going to go, if they can figure that out, I would love to see Tulane. Memphis is going to be a tough out. And let me tell you, based off what we saw against Georgia Tech, give me Memphis all day against Florida State. So if Memphis can run the table, even if they end up losing a game down the stretch and they're 1 loss, I could see Memphis getting it. They are absolutely loaded on offense. And if they can get those pieces from the portal on defense to fit, look out. So I'm going to go Tulane or Memphis. I really think those 2 teams probably have the best chance.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat, and I agree with you. I think their quote unquote strength of schedule gets a little worse based on Florida State's performance. But
Hold on now. That's Florida State you're talking about. That's a big brand. That was a number 10th ranked team in the country, Sprouse.
I know.
Don't
They
do
even
that.
have a patch. They even have an ACC patch on
do.
their jerseys. Not well. Look, well, it probably won't work in our favor. Whatever happens, they'll find a way. But I think that game is a lot more winnable. Now, see, Boise. What scares me about Boise State is, I think Oregon again is really good, like one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the country. So I think that's going to be tough. And they could lose that game. They just can't lose too badly. I agree with you on Liberty. I think Liberty has to go undefeated to even have a sniff at this thing
and do it in impressive fashion.
I think, yeah, I agree. And then for App State, some of the Sun Belt teams, I just think the Sun Belt is too close, and I think they're going to beat each other. I think you're going to have multiple losses in the Sun Belt. Now we'll see. If App beats Clemson, they probably can still afford a Sun Belt loss or a Liberty loss or something like that. But I'm leaning Memphis right now. I just think like you said, they're just absolutely loaded. But anyway, we got some games Thursday, Jeff. We had a nice little slate of games. A lot of FCS games. As you're looking at these lines and this list, we're going to dig into a couple of them. But any of these games worry you at all?
There's
a group of 5.
There's a couple.
I got one, and I think if you're San Jose State, I think you better look out for Sacramento State. I mean, that's a powerhouse now. 8-5 in the FCS last year, but all of their losses last year were to Montana State, South Dakota, all the premier, and they beat Stanford last year. Sac State did. San Jose State right now -3.5.
Yeah,
that's a little scary, Jeff.
That game worries me. It really does. San Jose State, new head coach, obviously coming in. Cupboards, there's not a whole lot of talent coming back. Nick Nash at the receiver position, I do like him, but you don't really know who your quarterback is. You got a couple pieces on defense, but like you said, Sac State is a good team. And that's a regional rivalry. If San Jose State might not deem it, but you better believe Sac State wants to go in there and start the season off right. So that worries me. I'll tell you another game that worries me. Lafayette at Buffalo. Buffalo's favored 3.5 points. That game worries me for a couple of reasons. The Bulls have lost their last 2 seasons to their FCS opponents, Fordham and Holy Cross. Lafayette was 9-3 last year. They're returning All-American running back Jamar Curtis. Dude is a stud, over 1,000 yards rushing last year. And Buffalo, man, Cole Snyder transfers away. They lost pieces on defense. They do have a couple, they'll have players. I just think that Lafayette's the more complete team. And same as Sac State going on the road, they want to start their season off right and knock off. As us in the group of 5 want to knock off Power 4 teams, you better believe that FCS opponents want to knock off teams in the group of 5 or in FBS. So that worries me a little bit. I hope Buffalo pulls it out, but last 2 years they've lost.
I was looking at that one too. And I thought I was a little bit looking at Fordham at Bowling Green just because Fordham did beat Buffalo last year. But I think Bowling Green's pretty good, and they're double-digit favorites on that. So, but looking at these other ones, Jackson State at Monroe, Monroe, you better play tight now. You got Fordham at Bowling Green, Central Connecticut State at Central Michigan, Duquesne at Toledo. Didn't Duquesne beat somebody in a group of 5 recently?
I feel like they did. I can't remember who it was, but this is a big game for Tucker Gleason. He needs to show up and dominate this team and look like he's in command of the offense. He's efficient. You want to see it over 70% completion from him and him making plays, and they're 28.5 point favorites. They need to come out and dominate. That's what I want to see in this game. Is Tucker Gleason the guy? Taquan Finn is at Baylor now. He was named the starter there. Got big shoes to fill. He's fully capable, but he's got to show up and do it.
Yeah, then you got Alcorn State at UAB. Same thing for me at UAB. I want to see them just come in, play solid. Do that again. We talk about this every year. Most of these games, that's what you want to see. No turnovers, no dumb penalties, discipline. Get in and out, get the game over with and go.
Yeah, I want to see Jacob Zeno. I want to see him. You know he's going to throw the ball all over the field. And Isaiah Jacobs, I'm excited to watch him play. Josh Jacobs' little brother. You know they're going to score points. And again, when you play these games, you want to show up and be dominant because you should dominate these teams physically, athletically. Like, show up and do your job. And when you don't, it's a little cause for concern.
Yeah. And then Southeast Louisiana at Tulane. For Tulane, I just want to see what they do at quarterback. And same thing. I want to see them physically dominate Southeast Louisiana. Biggest game Thursday night, Jeff. We were at this game last year. It got rain and lightninged out about halfway through the first half. Coastal at Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State 2.5-point favorites. Like I said, last year sloppy with the weather, but McCall threw it all over him. 268 yards. Jared Brown had a massive game last year. Jared Brown now, of course, is at South Carolina. Last year, Smothers, Jack State went with a little bit of both quarterbacks. Smothers ran for 54 yards, but Webb had most of the time. I don't know. What are you thinking on this game, Jeff?
This game is going to be interesting, and you're going to find out a lot. I think it comes down to the ability, Jacksonville State's run game versus Coastal's defense. I think that's the matchup to watch. Coastal had a relatively solid defense a year ago, especially in the back end. But they lost a lot of good pieces. A lot of their top players transferred out. Obviously, McCall is gone. You mentioned Brown being gone. So, who's going to get the start? Ethan Vasco, or is it going to be Noah Kim, Michigan State transfer? I think both will get time. We'll see who, looks the best. But I think this job is Vasco's to lose. He's got a year in this Tim Beck system now. He's going to be more familiar. The players are going to be more familiar with him. And I think he's fully capable mentally and physically to win this job and to take the shots where they want to go. And then on the other side, you'll see both quarterbacks in Jacksonville State. You saw it last year. That's what Rich Rod does. And, he named Smothers and Hug as co-starters. Not my favorite thing, but in this offense, I think they get away with it because of how well they run the ball. So,
yeah,
I don't know which way I'm leaning.
Well, and here's another stat for you. Last year, Jack State 7-4 against the spread. Coastal 8-4 against the spread. So that doesn't help you at all. Man, I'm leaning with an early Conference USA over Sun Belt win. I'm leaning Jack State here.
Yeah,
but I can't wait. It should be a really good. I say good. It's going to be an entertaining game. I think we're going to see some real sloppiness to it, though.
Yeah, I think Jacksonville State can get it done. I'm interested to see the crowd. Do they show up for this opener and pack that stadium and be a factor in this game? I think that makes a big difference, especially with the opposing, quarterback, whether it's Cam or Vasco. I think it affects your ability to communicate and make plays, but we'll see. I could see Jacksonville State. I'll roll with them.
Yeah, and before we get into some voicemails, I did want to shout out Prize Picks. All these player props usually come out the day before or day of the game. Download the app, use our code GOFG. They'll give you a free $100. Player I have to watch in Prize Picks, Jeff, Jack State running back, Anwar Lewis. I just think Coastal, like you said, they were good in the back end last year. Run defense was not fantastic. And I think Jack State's going to try to control the clock, run the ball quite a bit. So haven't seen what his numbers are just yet, but I am looking at Jack State running back Anwar Lewis.
I got
four. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, what you got?
Yeah, I got a couple players to keep an eye on. Running back for Terry and Stewart. Check out what his rushing yards are. He's a phenomenal player. I think he's going to be able to run the ball all over the field. Harold Fannin Jr., if they have him at an anytime touchdown, I would definitely take him. Should be at over under 0.5. If it is, take the touchdown. He's going to score. Mekhi Hughes, rushing yards. Whatever that dude's rushing yards, if it's something reasonable, I think he gets over 100 yards on this team. If you look at what Summerall's been able to do with his running backs and Joe Craddock with that offense, I think they're going to pound the rock. And then check out Jacob Zeno's pass yards. I think Trent Dilfer, he's going to want to make a statement. He wants to see what he's got on the outside in his receivers. Passing yards with Jacob Zeno. Take a look at it.
I like it, Jeff. Well, we got 4 voicemails.
We do.
But they are starting to trickle in. We may have to start splitting these up, Jeff, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We may have to give folks no, we can't do that. No limits on this live chat. 615-900-4286. Hot takes, trash talk, all the above. Let's get them.
Group of 5 guys, Josh Bevel here, calling in from the beautiful Perry, Georgia. It's hot, but you know what that means. It better be hot on Saturday when the Boise State potatoes come to town. I can't freaking wait. I hope these Gnats are in full form in Statesboro. I mean, football season, we're freaking back. Let's go. Group of 5 guys are killing it, putting all the coverage out to all the G5 teams. And, you know, everybody's saying Boise State is going to be a real contender in the G5. No, sir. Not after Saturday. Georgia Southern Eagles think it's about a 10-point spread at home. I've seen 12. I've seen 10. Not too sure what exactly it is, but hammer the Eagles. That's all I got to say. So, Matt Sprouse, looking forward to seeing you. And any of you Georgia Southern fans, tune into Water Hose Drinkers. We've had a couple interviews that you might like, and we're doing a live show before kickoff. So stay tuned. Group of 5 guys, y'all can cut that if you want. I know I just plugged, but sorry. But, hey, happy football season. I'm glad everybody's back. Let's go. Thank you, guys.
Oh, we're not cutting that, Josh. Appreciate
And nothing
you,
wrong
man.
with a shameless plug, Josh. Right now, I've got 13 on the spread on that game.
I tell you what, I like that number. I mean, if you can get it if you can get it to 2 touchdowns, I know on FanDuel you can alternate the spread.
Yep.
I'll gladly take Georgia Southern at 14.5. Take the points. I think it's gonna be closer than people think.
It's about to be hot,
Real hot. Cramping. You're gonna have the guys cramping on the sideline.
You have guys cramping. Yep. You have them big fans on the sideline. They're gonna have. I can't remember how the stadium is. If Boise's just directly in the sun on the away side, you know, like the Dolphins. The Dolphins stadium is like that. The away team's just beating in the sun.
Yeah, because I think if where we were at for the spring game up in those suites, the sun sets behind that side. So depending on how much coverage you get from the press box, I think it's kind of like left shoulder-ish going down. It's going to be on that sideline. It's a factor.
It's going to be a tough spot for Boise.
And Paulson's going to be cracking, dude.
It better be. I looked. I think they were 1,500 away from a sellout. They better sell that damn thing out, honestly. You know what the problem is?
We got
the Bulldogs are playing Clemson on Saturday.
Buck the full dogs.
You also have, I know the Georgia Southern fans don't care about this, but you also have Georgia State at Georgia Tech on Saturday. Battle of Atlanta. Yeah. Anyway, what else we got?
Let's get to our next one.
What's up, boys? It's Matt Hardigan calling from Orlando, Florida, as I go 7 for 7 of watching your guys' live show. I am really grateful for what you guys do for the Group of 5. But I just want to talk a little bit about Troy. I think they're going to come out a gunslinging and gun raising on Saturday in the vet when we take down the Nevada Wolfpack. Even though they do scare me a little bit, I think we got this. With the Goose throwing that ball around the field, we should be fine. But I do have a request for you guys. I need anybody listening to this show, listening to the podcast, on Twitter, on social media, anywhere. I was nominated a couple of days ago by Troy Athletics to be Troy's Ultimate Fan winner. And it would be greatly appreciated if you would join us in this challenge of me becoming this fan. You know, as a fan, of Troy athletics, and not just as Troy, but as the Sun Belt fan and a Group of Five fan. I really do appreciate your guys' support on this. So if you log on to TroyTrojans.com, Ultimate Fan Contest, you'll see a bio there for me, and my name is Matt Hardigan again, and I will greatly appreciate your guys' vote as I am in the running for the Troy's Ultimate Fan. And let me just say this: God bless you guys, God bless America, and God bless Troy. Go Trojans.
It's a long travel for the Wolfpack coming off a tough battle.
It is.
I think the goose is on the loose, my friend. I think he's going to get after it.
He's got to get some good NIL stuff. We got to get
no doubt.
We got to get the Trojans together on the horn with that. Get Goose something good.
Sure they're in his ear.
Matt, if you're still on, you got to tweet your link out, and we will retweet that thing for you. Because I'm not going to lie to you, we have retweeted a couple other Troy fans looking for some help in this vote. So get you about 3 a.m. 3 a.m. you'll miraculously get like another couple million votes. I don't know.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, Matt, checking in. He's been with us 7 days in a row, man.
Yes, man.
It's impressive.
That's right.
It's impressive. Right. Let's get to our next one.
Group of Five guys, Terry Johnson calling, and the Cajuns head down in Lafayette, Louisiana, have a great Catholic presence around here. So if whenever they choose a pope, they get the smoke comes out of the roof of Sistine Chapel. So saw some smoke come out of the Raging Cajun Athletic Complex, and it looks like Dez has chosen the quarterback, and it is Ben Wooldridge. As I said in the earlier voicemail the other day, seems like a great leader. He's big. He can run with the ball. He makes pretty good decisions, here and there. He is very injury prone. His release isn't that strong. I know the Cajuns can win with him or Chandler. They went at it for the third year in a row for a starting quarterback, and, Ben pulls it out. In the end, guys, I just want to win. We play Grambling State, which, I've had my family's from Louisiana, so I've had 2 aunts that went to Grambling, and my cousin actually is one of the strength coaches over there, and he says Grambling is going to be actually pretty good in the FCS this year. So I don't want to catch an L like New Mexico did with Montana State. I just want to go out there and win, I guess, pretty well. I'm very cautious about this season. I have in past 2 seasons just because Dez hasn't really shown me much juice, but I hope, I always going to root for my team. So whatever quarterback goes out there, Ben is going to be his series, and I hope he does well. Fun fact, Zion Chris transferred to Houston, and guess what? He is second string. And whatever they promised him over, when he transferred from UL to Houston wasn't the bag he was promised. And honestly, I feel bad for the kid. I want him to play wherever he is. I was hoping he was going to be the starter, but sadly he's second string over there. So just for anybody listening, just because somebody's going to offer you a bag and you sign on dotted line, look at the fine print and just see what they can give you. Because if you had said to UL, they were going to give him a good bit too. But Houston promised, in air quotes, more. But either way, pray the kid does well. Pray, he finds his footing, and hopefully he can get on the field wherever he lands. And, I pray that always the Cajuns win. And, God bless Group of Five. God bless Group of Five, guys. Go Cajuns.
And that's something. I'll tell you what. Go be somewhere at a school that you have the best opportunity to play and get on the field. There's no substitute for film, for stats. The NFL will find you. I don't know how much they paid you to go to Houston, but you're the second string. That hurts your chances in the long run.
You got to play wherever you're at. That's all, that's all. And like we've talked about before, the stats, the numbers literally show you have a better chance at the NFL if you stay.
Yeah. But shout out to Wooldridge, man, getting that job.
Yeah. I think that's who Terry wanted. He won't say it, but
yeah. I think it's a smart move. You go with the veteran guy who's got more experience under his belt, and like Terry said, he's a little injury prone. So if it goes down, gives your younger guy a couple more weeks to get in the system and to learn and to just improve. So I think the Cajuns will be fine with that pick. All right, let's hit our last one, and then we'll get out of here.
Well, boys and girls, it is another great college football season. It is upon us. It is actually already here. Week 0 just happened. Week 1 is this weekend. I'm so excited. Very, very excited. It's just an exciting time. If you can't tell, I'm excited. I said that 4 times. So, happy week 1. It's going to be a great weekend. A lot of great games. It's your boy Zachary Brenner. I introduced myself a little later, but as of now, y'all should kind of recognize my voice. I'm excited for my Troy Trojans this year. We got Loosey Goosey in the backfield. We're gonna get loose as a goose, as that man Boosie said. So it's gonna be a fun year, interesting year. Got new staff. I'm very excited. Got to spend some time with them back in the spring. Just exciting. Very exciting. I wish nothing but the best of luck to Coach Summerall and Tulane this year. I'll, have a great relationship with him, so I'll be pulling for Tulane. My hot take this year, my bias opinion, rolling my Trojans, right? I love Group of 5 football, but Texas State, I'll be watching closely. All right? Watching closely. Everybody's been saying it for the last 3 years, but I kind of figured, it was going to be about that 3rd year mark after everybody got on that fan train that they were going to kick into gear. And I think this might be their year. Our games are always fun to watch, so Texas State, I am now intrigued. So everybody else in the Sun Belts, to hell with you. I'm joking. But no, for real. To hell with y'all. Let's have a great season. Let's have a great podcast, boys. Let's do it. It's college football.
Appreciate you, Zach. We'll see what happens in that Sun Belt West.
Yeah, that Thursday night in Troy, Texas State goes. By the way, Zachary Branner, I thought he was an old has-been like us, Jeff. That guy's playing like arena football or something out of nowhere.
Still at it. Yeah, got picked up in the playoffs, I think.
What would you do if you got a phone call today and it was like a good portion of money to suit him up one more time? Some places do like those alumni games. Yeah, that's true. Like high school sometimes. You ever seen those? The high schools do like an alumni game and they like for real.
Yeah.
How stupid is that? Because what you have, like,
no chance I'm playing in that game.
Well, and here's what you also have though, and you probably could go back and do well, because like at our age now is when you really start to see the like you got some guys that have continued to work out a little bit, stay in shape a little bit, and then you got other guys that haven't touched anything physical since they stepped off the field. And I mean, can you imagine just like, their body would, it would look like, you look like dust. You just like a little hit and all of a sudden the whole body collapses.
Lot of ACLs, a lot of ankles,
a lot of them.
It'd be bad. It wouldn't be a good sight.
Yep. Well, hey, look, that's all we got for you guys this morning. We'll catch you Friday morning, normal time. I think Jeff might be calling in from the craps table, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll keep you guys updated if anything changes. But
if you come on and we're not on, just know Jeff, he didn't make it.
I didn't make it. No, we're gonna try and be live from either the hotel room, maybe a conference room, or hell, maybe from the casino floor, Sprouse. I don't know, but I'm going to drag old Tyler Tipton with me. So hopefully we
might get a special guest on here Friday morning, guys.
Hopefully we'll get Tip as long as situations allow and technology allows.
Yep. Well, hey, look, if you like the show, make sure you follow us on all the social platforms at Group of Five Guys. Subscribe to the channel. Give us a 5-star rating and a review. Keep sharing the good word with your family and friends. That's all we got for you guys today. We're out of here.